passionate golfer than me. I love it. I try my hardest. I got some lessons this year, and I'm coming back. And I'm going to come back, and I'm going to beat more than 4 people. So, I don't know how many of y'all followed my career over the years, but I lost quite a few races before I finally won a couple of big ones. And so Darius Rucker, who I golfed with some, we were playing one day, and he said, Michael, you got to feel like that ball's, as a racer, you got to be confident. You know, that ball's going to go in that hole, right? I said, well, Darius, I lost 462 races in a row once. That hole looks like a thimble to me most days. I stand over a straight 8-footer, and I'm thinking, the world's rounded. There's no way that ball's going to go straight in that hole. But I'm working on all that. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be a Diamond Resorts brand ambassador. And I'm thankful for the visits we get to make to the Children's Hospital and the difference that Diamond Resorts is making in people's lives around this tournament. It's incredible to play with great golfers like John and Brittany, and I'm looking forward to all the LPGA girls being here and being a part of this event again this year.
Thank you. Thank you. We're certainly glad to have you. We're going to open it up, to you all for questions, but it did prompt something that I did forget to say, and it's probably the most important thing, so I apologize for going backwards, but I do want to make one comment. The golf tournament, in the short time that it has been in existence, has given back over $3.5 million to children's health care. And so it really is pretty cool to be able to come out here and have a great time, and on an average year be able to give $500,000 to $800,000 back to charity. So that's a big part of why we do this. Our team members, as well as the 500,000 families that own their vacation with us. So it's very cool, and those are 2 pillars of who we are, as a company, and I did want to make mention of that. So with that, we'd like to open up the Q&A to you all. Yes, ma'am.
This is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. So this question is for Brittany. Now that you do have a beautiful 5-month-old, and given the cause that this game does benefit, is there an added meaning now that you do have a precious one?
Absolutely. I mean, I do a lot with the LPGA Girls Golf Program and getting young girls especially involved with the game of golf and wanting to leave the game better than when I started. So now to have a daughter, I mean, she has her little U.S. Girls Golf outfit on today. I can't wait to get a club in her hand. But just to have that ability to be able to give back and to raise money for wonderful charities and to get more kids involved with the game of golf. It's
between being a mom and being an athlete, the answer is yes. So we want to make sure they come back. And so Brittany's young daughter is going to grow up with a lot of other kids on tour through our traveling daycare. So, I mean, I would tell you, if you don't follow the LPGA all the time, maybe take one afternoon while you're here at the Diamond Resorts and let somebody show you daycare. You might find Romper Room as interesting as the 7th green.
That's awesome. Yes, sir.
For Michael, you've been playing in this tournament for a while now. What was the best suggestion you got to improve your game from the female pros?
Oh, they usually don't talk to me. It just works out best for everybody involved. But I did have the honor to play with Woody Austin not too long ago, and he gave me some really great advice. And he's a smart guy and a great player, and he just says that I need to go after it. It just looks like I'm not going anywhere when I swing it. So he says, put it up in my stance a little bit and go. And he said, that should be your mentality. You think about it too much. You need to just go. And I learned at a young age that I needed to make a living sitting down because everything I tried to do standing up, I wasn't very good at it. And I noticed also around town, most of the people that had jobs sitting down were kind of smart, and I wasn't sure how that was going to work. So luckily I could drive a car.
Yes, sir. They'll get you a mic here.
Mike, I remember when you made the announcement of the first annual a year ago, and you were talking about what it was going to do for the tour. Coming off last year, you see it now, and you've added an event. I think you have 4 events in Florida now total, right? What has this event done for your tour? How do you feel that it's boosted what your mission statement was?
Well, I think there's probably 3 things it's done. First is we started our season on NBC and we ended on NBC. I think for a lot of sports stars, that might seem like a given, but at the LPGA, when I started in 2010, we had one network weekend. I think this year we'll have 8 or 9. My goal is to get to 14 or 15. I'd like to have half of our events on network TV. Nothing against our cable relationship with Golf Channel, because it's phenomenal and produces 500 hours of golf every year that we sell to 175 countries, so that's our core business. But we, sometimes we would start our season down under at the Australian Women's Open or the Vic Open, and the only people who didn't know we started were our fans, you know, so it was kind of tough to start your season and nobody knew you started their season. With Mike and Diamond Resorts, we were able to kick off in as big a way as we finish. And I think the second thing it did for us is it enabled us and a lot of our other sponsors to go ahead and think a little differently. Mike didn't attack this like, how are we going to make a great golf tournament? He said, how are we going to create a great time with a lot of competition? As I always said, told my wife when we were coming here last weekend, I said, get ready for competitive partying. And she goes, well, what's that? And I said, well, it's competitive, and there's nerves, but we're going to end at a party. And of course, my wife was nervous because she goes, "Ooh, you're pretty good at those." And I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Keep an eye on me." But so I mean, it's fun. To me, it was. I remember I was getting interviewed behind the 18th green, and the person I was looking at 18, and the person interviewing me was going this way, and she said, "How do you think your players feel about live music when they're trying to make a putt on 18?" And as she said it, I had a player dancing on the 18 while another player was putting. One of her teammates was putting. I said, "Turn around." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Does she look like she's unhappy?" I mean, she's literally dancing. She still had a putt to go. So I think it helped us take ourselves a little less seriously. I would tell you that when I walked onto the range last year to play in the Pro-Am and the music was rocking, a player looked at me and said, "I hope they do this all week." That's, we learned a little bit. I hope you do it on the first tee. I hope you do it on the 18th tee. And for every player who dislikes it, I'm going to say, well, this is an event you don't have to come back to next year. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what makes this event this event. And then the last thing is it gave us a new corporate friend who pushes us. I mean, Mike, Mike says a lot of complimentary things, but also when we have conversation, Mike says, "Let me give you 3 new ideas." And I know 2 of them are going to make me uncomfortable, and that's why I want to hang out with him. Because when you meet people that think big, think fast, and are willing to think fun, if you're smart enough to let them infiltrate your world a little bit, you're going to end up with a bigger, fun, more ecstatic and enjoyable tour. So I think Mike's done a lot for this event, but he's probably done more for the tour than that probably doesn't get communicated.
Side note, I played with Larry the Cable Guy 2 rounds the last event, and my stomach was hurting the whole day because I was laughing so hard, and we played music the whole entire round, which I don't know if that's allowed, but we did, and it's such a fun event.
For John, as someone who's competed your whole life, could you speak to the importance of having something to fill that void post-baseball, and then your success out here against the celebrities? What does it do to fuel your success to play in some of these bigger events?
Yeah, when playing baseball, I don't know that I ever dreamt I'd play 21 years, and 21 years is incredible in and of itself, but my body is starting to feel those 21 years. So when I thought about competitiveness, when I retired, I played basketball all the way till I was 50 years old in highly competitive leagues. Part of the reason why my body's not doing so good today. Golf is a little less strenuous, but it also allows you to see daily. I have this general philosophy about golf. Golf, first of all, allowed me to play 21 years in baseball. Without it, I don't think there's any way that I could have survived. The game would have ate me up. I was lucky enough to have a position for most of my career to pitch once every 5 days, so golf 4 days. And it really was the threesome. Me, Maddox, and Glavine, we enjoyed life away from the game, and we talked baseball and life on the golf course. So there's so many great attributes and great things that we were able to accomplish through golf. Now, you're talking about a guy that I hated golf till I was 21. I never played it, didn't understand it, and now I'm obsessed by it. So there's something special about every day being your day. And I think when I tee it up, casually I can play with anybody, and a lot of people can play with anybody casually, because there's just not the same emotion, stress, or pressure. And when you play in a tournament, there's something special about a leaderboard for me. And, winning your group, and then winning the leaderboard, and trying to figure out how you can get to the top. And the competitiveness on the Celebrity Tour, from when it started a long time ago to the celebrity events that we have now, is so far from where it once was that you can see that these athletes and people of all likes are trying to push themselves to see how good they can be. Now, you know, I make no bones about it. I want to see how far I can take my golf game, but my schedule is not one that will let me to do that at this point. Because of broadcasting, I have to and will always do my job first as a broadcaster, and then secondary is golf. So, you know, I guess I can say I'm addicted to competition. I love competing, and I don't care for what, you know, where. I like seeing how far I can climb up on a leaderboard. I think that's the coolest thing in the world, but it's a learning experience. I have to tell you one story, because when I did get a chance to play this year in the Champions Tour in Tucson, my wife was following me around, and I started off really well. And I think I was 3 under through 8. And that's a leaderboard you're not going to see me on too often. And I was like 6th or 7th, and I snuck over to her, and I said, please take a picture real quick, because I don't know that you, and she goes, I already did. I go, that a girl. I said, because that's the highest we're going to see our name for a long time. But that's how much fun I have, and I do have to admit I'm in a little bit of a timeout for golf. I'm taking a month off to work on some things for my body, because I got a little too angry about some of my last tournaments. But I love it, and I don't think there's a person I have met in the industry of golf. Golf and fishing, to me, are 2 industries you can't meet bad people, I don't think. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Brittany's in, yeah.
Fishing. I like fishing too.
I remember I teed off like first one time in this event, and I made a par on the first hole, and my name was on the leaderboard. Yeah. I got my buddy, and I went over and stood by it, and he took my picture. So. We got something in common, John.
Now you see why there's 15,000 people a day that come out to watch this golf tournament. It's fun.
Brittany, welcome back, first of all. But when did you start working on getting ready for the 2020 season, and what's been the most difficult adjustment trying to balance that preparation with your little girl?
I started back pretty quickly. So we were in the NICU for almost 5 weeks. So it was probably like 2 months after having her that I got back to the golf course. And I love to play, so I played a bunch and have been playing a bunch. But yeah, luckily, like I said, my mom and dad live 20 minutes down the road, so they come over and watch Emery while I go play, and it's been great. But I think the hardest thing, I mean, obviously we can play and putt and all those things are coming back nicely. It's more the competition and the nervousness that, you know, I haven't had that since May, so that'll be, I think this event is going to be so perfect. A, there's no cut, and B, just the fun, like, relaxingness of it, and hanging out with the celebrities and going to the parties, and it's just kind of like I said, playing with Larry the Cable Guy last time, playing music. It was just like playing a round of golf at home with my buddies, and there wasn't too much stress. So this is the perfect event to come back to, and I can't wait. I'm playing as much as I can right now, but I can't wait for it.
Melissa Thomas again with Florida National News. This question is for you, Mike. What is normally the process then for our audience who may be brand new to this competition? Given the amount of celebrities that have applied, what's the process to normally whittle that down to the last 4 spots?
Well, yes. So it's really hard. When we started this golf tournament, we had a lot of people come out celebrity-wise and support this golf tournament that allowed us to put it on the map. And so there is a balance of, you know, being loyal, which we are extremely loyal at Diamond Resorts to those that helped us get this thing off the ground. And then there is the business side of it. And the business side of it is that what really matters at the end of the day is what do the television ratings say? And so in an effort to continue to have television ratings that exceed all tours during the time period of which we are on TV, we want to have people that move the needle. And, you know, I'm very proud of some of the folks that we have in the golf tournament. I mean, you start thinking about the likes of Josh Donaldson. You start thinking about, Ray Allens. You start thinking about the John Smoltz. You start thinking about in the entertainment side of things, we've got country music superstars, Cole Swindell, Lee Bryce, so Jake Owen. So it's really diverse. This year we've got Bryant Baumgartner, who's coming in, who is one of the hottest actors out there right now. We've tried to kind of move more towards entertainment because we were very heavy on the side of sports and athletes. Ben Higgins, who was a former winner of The Bachelor. So we've done a pretty good job, we think, of kind of, as a committee, mixing up people from kind of different walks. And the reason we hold back 4 or 5 spots to this late is typically because of the NFL season, because we obviously have a lot of NFL players that want to play, but their job is to get in the playoffs, and so they can't commit until they have been eliminated from the playoffs. So we always hold back, 4 or 5 spots for key NFL players, and I'm really proud of who we have. We're not allowed to announce simply because they're still playing and trying to make the playoffs, but we're going to have some amazing current NFL players that are going to be part of it. But it's really hard. We started something new this year that we've never done before, and we went back and we kind of picked 10 people that we thought telling them they couldn't play was disappointing to us and very, very difficult. So what we did was we created a tournament brand ambassador spot where we're inviting those 10 celebrities to bring their families for the week to enjoy every activity, every evening function, to be on the board, to be drafted, to play in the Pro-Am. But what they really are in golf terminology is they're our number 1 through 10 alternates in case a celebrity does not, tee it up for injury or whatever. So that's how competitive it's gotten, and that's how we kind of go about it.
Hey, John, this question's for you. Alex with Diamond Resorts. By following your baseball career, we always seen how competitive you are. But also, if you follow your baseball career, you know how you've been known to make great adjustments, being obviously one of the only pitchers ever with 200 wins and over 150 saves. So you've always been in the top of the leaderboard every year that I've been involved with this tournament the last 5 years. So what adjustments did you make last year going into 2019 that helped you get over that hump and win your first title?
I'm pretty honest, and I came here with 3 putters last year. And so my good friend and former catcher, Greg Olson, is my caddy, and he said, "What's going on?" I said, "You'll find out after the first day of practice round." Well, that putter was out. And then the first day of the Pro-Am, that putter was out. And so he didn't know what was going to happen first round of the tournament. I show up with the putter that basically stole a lot of attention, the Bloodline putter that stands up by itself. He goes, "You're going to go with this and have not used it at all?" I said, "This is all we got, and that's what we're going to do." And so really the adjustment for me is I started making some putts, and I made a lot of them in round 2, and it gave me a lot of confidence, because the game of golf for me, I have to learn certain things, and I'm willing to learn them very difficultly by being embarrassed at times. But I had to learn that one bad swing, one bad hole did not define your tournament. And it's amazingly how easy that is to say and how hard that is to overcome. And I learned that tough lesson this year just in some of the Champion Tour events I played in, that great rounds going, one bad swing, and then you're thinking about that too much. So really the tournament here was about putting, and adding that 4th day meant that you were going to have to putt better over 4 rounds. And so that became a fun story to tell and a great decision to use that putter at the last minute.
And just to follow up to that, because a lot of baseball fans in the room here, sounds like you're a little superstitious then, right? So is there any way that you could tell us a little story about if you were superstitious being back in your baseball career as well?
Superstitious probably is a part of all of us, but not to the degree that I had to do something, right? So I wasn't stupid. If something worked, I kept going. But I didn't have anything like, I would get mad after a bad stretch and purposely step on the white line because nobody wanted to step on the white chalk line. And then I would scrape it up, say, take that, as if that was some kind of, you know. But I did cut my lawn 7 straight times the day I pitched at home when I could, when I was at home. Well, won all 7 games, and then I was trying to figure out how to do that on the road. It was a riding lawnmower. It wasn't a pushing lawnmower, but it was a riding lawnmower. So in golf, it's kind of the same way, you know. There are clubs in your bag that you know eventually aren't going to make it, and then there are clubs that, you know. So for me, that was, I don't have anything that I come to the course thinking is going to be superstitious, but I'll ask a lot of the golfers what they do, how many holes do they go before they change their ball, or what some of the things that they do. Because, you know, in my sport, I got to start the action. And if I liked the baseball, I used it. If I didn't, I threw it away. Doesn't quite work that way with golf.
Hey, Michael, see, he made his living sitting down too.
Somewhat.
Riding lawnmower, man, before every home game.
This guy gave me a putter here a year ago. It's called the Cure. I gave it back to him. I said, I think it's called the Cause. I like when people are happy.
Brittany, you mentioned it. It's a fun event, but it's also the first event of the LPGA Tour. It is a big prize purse at the end. It gets you closer to Naples, to how well you do here. What is the dynamic, or how do you get your game face on when Larry the Cape guy is ribbing you and you're making a living here? It's a different animal.
It's very challenging. But I think we all know that going into it. I mean, it's a different event than we get to play all year, and I think that's why everyone likes it, because golf is always so serious and you have to be so focused, and this event allows you to be a little bit more free, and which actually might be really good for some of our players. So I think that's why everyone likes it. And all the parties at the nights, the concerts and stuff, we don't normally get to do that, especially 3 nights out of the week. So, but it is sometimes hard to focus. But obviously, when you're in the moment, you talk to your caddy, you get the number, you got the club, you focus for those, like 15 seconds or something that you hit that ball, and then after that, most of us anyway, I think you kind of shut it off and you go back to having a good time anyway. So you really only focus for those couple minutes that it's your turn to hit the shot, and then after that, it's good for your mind to kind of go elsewhere and have some fun. So it's hard, but it's easy just because we do it so much. But it is a big purse, and we obviously want to win.
All right.
By the way, thanks to you, Michael, last year, first place check was more than I made my first year and a half in the big leagues. If that tells you anything.
Well, listen, we're honored, and it's such an exciting time, and we're going to close things out here. And one thing that my crew keeps bringing notes up here, because I don't do this for a living. I want to make sure I get it in. But as a part of your story and your coverage, please let everyone know that all military families, active and veterans, are free to come to our golf tournament all week long. And we have a special tent set up for them, and we really want to recognize our military men and women, and it's an important piece of it. So that's something that we want to make sure we get captured as well. And if you want to follow along on Instagram and Twitter, you're welcome to follow me. We'll be doing lots of inside looks as we build up over the next 45 days or so to day one. So with that, thank you for attending today, and the team will be here to answer your questions on an individual basis. Thank you.